pharaohs, pyramids, tombs, River Nile, Horus, hieroglyphics. These are terms uniquely attributed to ancient Egypt and its spectacular history. Definitely one of the most historically sophisticated civilizations that ever existed. But did you know that Egypt was not a whole country throughout history? Interesting, right? Well, let me briefly tell you the historical myth of the individual who was speculated to have done the deed. What's up, amazing people of this weird and crazy planet called Earth? Welcome to the 28th and last episode of History's Most Influential Humans for the year 2021. I really hope you had an amazing year, even though there's bound to be ups and downs. And I hope I was able to inspire you or educate you through this series, as I hope to see you and I better by 2022, by God's grace. Well then, let's dive into today's most influential human, shall we? Quick notice though, I would definitely be making a whole lot of mistakes in Egyptian pronunciations, but I'm sure you get the drift of the story at the end of the day. Well then, moving on. So MENES was supposedly a pharaoh of the early dynastic period of ancient Egypt, credited by the classical tradition with the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt and the founder of the first dynasty. The identity of MENES is a subject of continuous debate, although mainstream Egyptological consensus identifies MENES with the Nakoda III ruler, Namar, or the first dynasty pharaoh, or Aha, because both pharaohs are credited for unifying Egypt to different degrees. The almost absolute absence of the mention of MENES in archaeological records and the close comparative to Namar, who is also credited with the archaeological record of the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt, has given rise to a theory identifying MENES with Namar, which is sort of like the widely accepted historical story. So two documents have been put forward as proof that either Namar or Oahaha was MENES. The first is the Nakoda label found at the site of Nakoda in the tomb of Queen Neferhotep, often assumed to have been the mother of Horus Aha. The label shows a sheriff of Oaha next to an enclosure inside of which are symbols that have been interpreted by some scholars as the name MENES. The second is the seal impression from Abydos that alternates between a sheriff of Namar and the chessboard symbol MN, which is interpreted as an abbreviation of MENES. Arguments have been made with regard to each of these documents in favor of Namar or Oahaha being MENES, but neither of the arguments is wholly concrete and conclusive. The second document, the seal impression from Abydos, shows the sheriff of Namar alternating with the game board sign MN, together with its phonetic complement and sign, which is always shown when the full name of MENES is written, again representing the name MENES. At first glance, this would seem to be strong evidence that Namar was MENES. However, based on an analysis of other early First Dynasty seal impressions, which contain the name of one or more princes, the seal impression has been interpreted by other scholars as showing the name of a prince of Namar named MENES. Hence, MENES was also said to be a successor of Namar, who is Oaha. Then Oaha was MENES. Yeah, I know, it's all confusing, but in simple terms, historians couldn't figure out the origin of MENES or if he even existed at all. As to some, he is referred to as just a myth, because it was such a long time ago and there was little or no evidence about his originality. But then, history was strongly passed down through generations of ancient Egypt. But then, that doesn't change the strong history of Upper and Lower Egypt being unified at a point in history to become one of the most historical and mighty civilizations that existed in the history of the world, with historically interesting and lengthy reigning religions, arts, languages, customs, kingdoms, conquests, and so much more. But like every other thing that has a beginning, it had to come to an end. Now, modern-day Egypt continues to face challenges from political unrest to terrorism and economical underdevelopment. Oh well, time will tell. And that's a wrap on our last episode of History's Most Influential Humans podcast for 2021. I hope you learned something new, even though this episode was really short. Oh, please, if you haven't listened to the last episode of my Reality Monday podcast, preparing for 2022, kindly do, as it is definitely one of the best for this year, and it's definitely one you'd learn a lot from. I swear to God, to be honest. I'm not going to lie to you. Well, that's it for this year. The podcast with Damilare Mapa wishes you a happy holiday, and hopefully we will meet again on episode 29 of History's Most Influential Humans in 2022 by God's grace. Peace.